Hello, I'm Miranda Kahn.
And I'm John Bachman. Coming up right now here on Newsmax TV and Newsmax Now, Marco Rubio says he would attend a gay or same-sex marriage, but what kind of rhetoric will it only drive a wedge even deeper between the candidate of the future and the voters he needs for 2016?
And the pilot of the gyrocopter who made a special delivery to the U.S. Capitol will appear in a courtroom today. See why he felt confident our national security experts would do nothing to stop him.
And a Democratic senator wants to say it's time to kick Andrew Jackson off the $20 bill and replace Old Hickory with a lady.
That and much more during our news roundtable. It's 11 a.m. on the East Coast, and this is Newsmax Now. It's a question that Marco Rubio will have to answer again.
Yeah, but when he used that word choice in that interview with Jorge Ramos from Fusion, a lot of folks will fixate on that because choice for many on this debate is a very loaded term. Miranda, let's get started with today's top stories. Marco Rubio is trying to sell himself as the candidate of tomorrow, and we just got an idea of how he plans to deal with an issue that more and more Americans are warming up to. Although Rubio says he believes that marriage should only be between one man and one woman, he also says he would go to a gay wedding.
Yeah, but somebody in my life that I love and care for, of course I would. I mean, I'm not going to hurt them simply because I disagree with the choice they've made or I disagree with the decision they've made.
Well, Rubio says for a Catholic, it's like a person going to a second wedding, even though Catholics don't believe in divorce.
Another presidential hopeful, Hillary Clinton, her listening tour continues. She spent another day in Iowa after announcing her presidential bid. On the second day of her two-day swing through the state, Clinton met with small business owners. She's trying to reintroduce herself to voters there after coming in third in the 2008 caucuses. The pilot of a small chopper that landed on the Capitol building's lawn is scheduled to appear in a courtroom today. The chopper made it all the way through Washington, D.C.'s secure airspace. Florida mailman Doug Hughes was flying that plane because he says he wanted to deliver letters that demanded campaign finance reform to Congress.
You could just see him with his helmet on, quite calmly just piloting the thing into the lawn. There was no noise coming from him. He wasn't screaming. He wasn't shouting.
Questions are being raised, though, about how Hughes was able to make it through what's supposed to be some of the most secure airspace on the planet. And
we'll talk more about that coming up here, Miranda. In Boston, a box truck driver, and the truck he was driving now dangling over the edge of a highway. You can see it right here. This truck in a precarious position. Earlier today, the MBTA suspended train service. I guess that's in Boston there, but it has been restored now. Police say 2 people were taken to the hospital, but their injuries not known at this time. And a bill that would have required kids to be vaccinated in California has now stalled in the state Senate. It would remove the ability of parents to keep their kids from being vaccinated for personal beliefs. This is a huge religious liberty issue for some folks. The lawmakers say, of course, in effect, it would create a second class of children since they would be barred from school if they were not vaccinated. Sure, it's not the last we heard of that one. And in Texas, they've now executed a convicted cop killer. Manuel Garza died after being given a lethal injection last night. 14 years ago, the San Antonio man killed a SWAT team member with the officer's own gun.
Man familiar to Texas, former President George W. Bush says his brother Jeb would make, quote, a damn good president. But Bush, 43, admits that the road for Jeb will be punishing. That's why the elder Bush says he'll stay away from the campaign. George Bush believes Jeb's experience as a governor is a big plus. New Jersey Senator Bob Menendez may be in need of a little support himself. A new poll now says more than half of those in New Jersey believe he should resign. Menendez faces federal corruption and bribery charges. And the Obama administration continues to try and normalize relations with Cuba. And although it might be a contentious issue, many people are actually looking forward to getting their hands on some of the classic cars in Havana.
It's a fantastic opportunity, lovely touring in Havana, and we can't wait for it to go back into the cars to continue with the walk and the drive. Thank you, guys.
Old American cars, like the ones you see here, still fill the streets of Havana, and tourists are actually flocking to the island to see these beautiful 1950 classics. A cappella groups are taking colleges by storm. Groups like the so-called vocals have been playing to packed houses, and they even have fans who travel with them from show to show. 8 college a cappella groups will be in New York this weekend to compete for the national title.
All right, Miranda, let's focus back in on that interview that Senator Marco Rubio did yesterday with Fusion Television. He's positioning himself as a candidate in touch with young people while painting those like Jeb Bush and Hillary Clinton as perhaps out of touch because of their experience, using their experience against them.
Yes, they are attacking. Let's see, the Elite Daily says this. Let's take a look. Quote, the fact of the matter, however, is that many of Rubio's political positions are regressive and would hardly lead us into a new century. Moreover, while he may be relatively young, his views stand in direct contrast with those of millennials on a wide array of issues. For example, climate change, gay marriage, and marijuana. That's what they're saying. He's out of step.
Yeah, but they didn't mention there, too, the economic issues. And Rubio tried to talk about that yesterday. He had that sit-down meeting at the Heritage Foundation. And a lot of millennials do care about finances because their finances are in not very good shape. They live in their parents' basement.
Student loans.
Student loans, exactly, another huge issue. He's trying to tackle that. But also, Rubio is going to be asked this question over and over again. We heard it yet. Let's play it one more time for you. Sitting down with Jorge Ramos from Fusion Television. Let's take a listen.
But the question is if you would attend to a gay wedding.
Yeah, but somebody in my life that I love and care for, of course I would. I mean, I'm not going to hurt them simply because I disagree with the choice they've made, or I disagree with the decision they've made, or whatever it may be.
A decision or a choice they made, that's what a lot of folks will focus on and maybe perhaps try to use that against him. But the answer, he didn't want to give it initially because that was the second time that Jorge Ramos had to ask that question.
Right, but they also brought up, you know, he said he's Catholic and he doesn't believe in divorce, but he would also go to someone's second marriage. And as you brought up, these are social issues, not economic issues.
Yes, and he's trying to walk that line. Again, talking about those economic issues, that's clearly what Rubio wants to focus his campaign on right now. Again, presenting this economy of the future, much like Ronald Reagan did when he was running for president. But these social issues are going to keep coming up, and folks like Jorge Ramos are going to make Rubio answer these questions. And what we saw yesterday was how he plans to tackle that. Now, will that work across the country? Likely it will work in the primary campaign. We'll see how it works in the national campaign if Rubio should win.
But other issues also came up, as we mentioned earlier. We talked about gay marriage. He also had some things to say about climate change. Do we have that part? Do we? No. We do not have that, but, you know, let's go ahead and paraphrase what he said. There's never been a time in history when the climate has not been changing, according to him. The fundamental question for a policymaker like himself is to what extent is human activity the sole contributor to it?
Rubio has some experience on that question. Another question that a lot of folks in the media try to trip him up on is questions like how old is the planet, things like that. Those are the types of questions we'll see now that he's we'll see him coming back.
Can he take the heat, though? Or will he be grabbing his water, his handkerchief?
Well, based on his answer they gave Jorge Ramos, I think he, you know, besides the fact he did not answer the question, it was a simple yes or no question in the onset, and you don't expect these guys to do that. I think he put himself in his position. This is what I believe. He's not castigating the, you know, gay folks from getting married. He just says, I don't believe it. He also went on to say, too, Miranda, that if folks believe in gay marriage, they should petition their states to change their state laws. He wants, again, to make this a state issue. We'll see how long that lasts because the Supreme Court is going to take up the issue of gay marriage as well.
Well, right now we have, what, 32 states now?
Something like that.
That legalize gay marriage?
And also the
issue,
too, with public opinion polls, too, it's definitely trending in the direction where more and more Americans feel like this is not just a gay rights issue, but a civil rights issue, and it's one of the most important wedge issues right now of this political campaign. Marco Rubio, they're giving us a preview of how he plans to handle that.
Stay connected to these stories and much more by going to Newsmax TV and Newsmax.com. Coming up, Israel marks Holocaust Memorial Day with sirens and ceremonies, and Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu issues a very stark warning. What he says, and does Harvard Law professor Alan Dershowitz agree with him? He'll join us live in just a moment. And you're watching Newsmax Now. Stay there.